Have you ever experienced this feeling? When someone you once loved suddenly disappears. No arguments, no explanations, just a silent void they leave behind. A patient of mine once came to see me, eyes glistening with tears, and said, "Doctor, they deleted all our photos, even unfriended me on social media. It's like I never existed." And you know what? This isn't uncommon for people with avoidant attachment styles. They don't do it because they're cruel, it's a self-protection mechanism. When emotions get too deep, too real, too overwhelming, they get scared. They're afraid of getting hurt, afraid of being dependent, afraid of feeling vulnerable in ways they don't know how to handle. Some people might call it hating guilt, but really, it's just their mind's way of surviving. They erase everything, cut off contact, leave no trace so they can feel safe even if it hurts you. What's particularly striking is how they rewrite the story in their minds. To them, you become the overly sensitive, overwhelming, too much person. They exaggerate your flaws, creating a narrative where they're innocent. Another patient once said, "They told their friends I was controlling, needy, impossible to deal with. Meanwhile, in reality, you were just someone who loved and cared." This doesn't mean you were wrong, it's just how they protect themselves from feeling accountable. They avoid facing the truth, avoid facing their own emotions. And another striking thing is the sense of relief they feel after leaving. It might be hard to believe, but for them there's no pain, no regret. If they respond to messages, it's usually cold, detached, almost mechanical. They've locked the door to their emotions, leaving no room for love or remorse. One patient told me, "I'm still hurting, but they act like they never loved me. I feel completely abandoned." And that's exactly it. Once an avoidant person has made up their mind, they really don't come back. You might be asking yourself, so what should I do? And from years of working with adults, the answer is, stop waiting. Stop trying to decode their behavior. Once they've rewritten the story, once they've erased you from their life, holding on to hope will only hurt you more. Instead, focus on yourself. Build a story where you are the center, not just a character in someone else's mind. I want you to imagine this. If someone can't show true emotions, can't tolerate intimacy, trying to hold on to them is like trying to breathe air from a room whose door has been shut. You only end up exhausted and losing yourself. One thing I often tell patients is, you can't save someone who isn't ready to change. All you can save is yourself. And remember, this isn't a punishment for them, nor is it a failure on your part. It's a lesson about boundaries, about recognizing your own worth. The right person will stay when you need them. They won't disappear just because emotions run deep. The right person will walk through fear with you, not run away. As for avoidants who have locked the door to their emotions, erased every trace, and felt relieved when leaving, they won't come back, and that says nothing about your value. So the question for you today is, are you living for yourself, or are you waiting for someone who will never return? I want you to pause, take a deep breath, and start building a life where you are the center. Because ultimately, love isn't about trying to fix someone else. It's about seeing yourself clearly even when they're gone. And once we understand that avoidant people withdraw and lock the door to their emotions, the next important step is recognizing who truly deserves to stay by your side. I want you to picture this. The right person won't disappear when things get real. They will stay connected, face emotions head-on, and be willing to have difficult conversations even when it's hard. One of my patients shared, "When I expressed my true feelings, the right person listened. They didn't retreat. They didn't vanish in fear." That's a sign you can trust. A person who knows how to love isn't the one who runs. On the other hand, avoidants can't face deep emotions. They avoid them to protect themselves from guilt. They don't want to admit weakness or confront the fear that they're not good enough, not strong enough. So the way they maintain their inner peace is to disappear. From the outside, this is incredibly painful for you. You might ask, how can they leave and never come back? But it's not your fault. It's how they protect themselves, not how they protect love. One more thing I want you to understand. Avoidants are easily triggered by intense emotions from you. When you show too much enthusiasm, too much vulnerability, they perceive it as a threat to their own psyche and immediately pull away. I once worked with a couple who seemed almost perfect, but every time one partner expressed love too passionately, the avoidant partner felt overwhelmed and started to withdraw. This doesn't reflect your value or your love. It's simply how their brain reacts to emotion. And often they avoid any real conversation about the relationship. They hate having deep talks even when everything is falling apart. I often tell my patients, you're trying to solve the problem, but they're trying to avoid their own feelings. They can't handle conflict in a healthy way. They retreat or disappear completely. And you'll notice that these silences aren't always temporary. You also need to understand another reality. they might come back, but not because of love. When an avoidant reappears, it's usually out of curiosity, a desire to control, or a need for attention. It's not because they've changed, and it's certainly not because they love you more. One of my patients went through this and realized that every time they returned, she only felt emotionally manipulated, not genuinely loved. If you allow them back without real change, the old pattern repeats. Withdrawal, avoidance, and you end up hurting again. So what's important? You need to set boundaries for yourself. Choose someone who truly commits, who doesn't run from emotions, and who doesn't force you to compromise your self-worth. Learning to recognize avoidant patterns and learning to identify the right person protects you. Not everyone who disappears is a bad person, but not everyone who comes back truly loves you. And today, I want you to ask yourself, are you waiting for someone who isn't ready to change, or are you living for yourself? Are you giving too much energy to doors that are locked, or are you opening new doors for yourself? Remember, you deserve someone who doesn't pull away when emotions get real, someone who doesn't disappear just because feelings run deep. You deserve true love, not the empty space someone leaves behind. If this story resonates with you, hit like, share it with the people you care about, and subscribe so we can learn together how to recognize avoidant patterns, protect ourselves, and build healthy relationships. Sometimes, loving yourself is even more important than holding on to someone else. Start with yourself. Thank you for watching today's video and taking the time to listen. I truly appreciate it. To help you better understand avoidant individuals, how they operate in relationships, and how to develop your own social connection skills, I've prepared a free ebook for you. You can download it right now using the link in the description below the video.